So we start off in Konoha. Yeah. There's 9 individuals in Konoha. One shouldn't be there whatsoever, but his position makes him basically immune to whatever he is, and one should be dead, and so on. But all Anbu hear a message from their tattoo, because it is a long-range transmitter for emergencies only. And they hear retired Anbu commander Inu requesting support for Warhammer. And all Anbu hear this. A few of them are questioning what Warhammer is, and 9 of them immediately go stone-faced. One of them was with his team. Well, 2 of them were with their teams. And, well, let's just say one of them has a fascination with the young people. Or youth. One of them is a smoker. One of them has a fascination with Pocky. Another has a fascination with pranks. But these 9 individuals immediately appear in Hiruzen's office. And Hiruzen has an Anbu tattoo because he has to have one. So if an Anbu request goes out, he can stop it if needed. And he heard the entire request. So these 9 people show up. One immediately showed up and immediately switched to her armor. She appeared, completely changed. Another, this giant man shows up with an axe. The other one has a sword. This lady shows up with a scythe in her hand, giggling. You'll know exactly who these people are later. Another one just comes in with basically a mask over his face, so nobody knows what he looks like. Another one has a dragon's mask, but you'll understand later. And more keep shuffling in until there's 9 in this room. One of them has no weapons on her. One of them has just a shield and an axe. One of them has just a giant freaking axe. One of them has a sword. One of them has a spear. And he says, we have unknown assailants for Warhammer. Warhammer has requested via his current Jonin sensei to request the rest of you. Don't know what the situation is, but I've called Sum, Hizashi, and Danzo. Looks at Sword. That's their code names currently. It says Sword. When you're done with Danzo, you have my permission to cut off his right arm and stab him through the throat. Because, well, Danzo is a traitor. We have finally gotten enough evidence and we can just make him disappear. Looks at Spear. It says, you're in command until Warhammer takes command. They all say yes, Hokage. And they all wait. Maybe like 5 seconds later, Danzo, Hiyashi, and Sum show up. But Hiyashi goes wide-eyed at seeing S.H.I.E.L.D. It says, you're supposed to be dead. And he's just still stone-faced. Just completely ignoring everything. And the Hokage is like, I'll tell you later. Right now, they need someone to track down Team 7. Warhammer's currently with them. Danzo's like, who is Warhammer? You've never told me. No one knows. Axe goes, I know. And this is a completely different voice from who he's supposed to be. The cigarette smoker, Daggers, is like, we all know who Warhammer is. And their voices are completely changed. and their personalities are completely changed to their true personalities. Senbon, because that's what her name is right now, goes, yeah, we all know him, but we've been sworn to secrecy, so I can't tell you who he is. And if I'm guessing correctly, he activated Warhammer Initiative right in front of his Genin students, so we're going to have to wipe their memories. So we're going to need Inuichi, who's been read in on this program. He goes, fair. Inuichi appears like, I've been called. And he sees all nine weapons, and he goes, aw, shice. Where's Warhammer? And he goes, Warhammer has summoned them. He's probably fighting currently. So you need to move. You have yesterday to get there. And they all go, yes, Hokage. And they all just dart out. Soom takes them out the way they came. Senbon, Kunai, and Shuriken are darting off forwards as scouts. Axe is making sure no one gets behind them. Shield is it right in front to take any damage that comes at them. Scythe is in the middle, just talking with the others. Their voices are either high-pitched or really low-pitched, so it's not their normal voice. So yeah. But we go to Warhammer when this starts. And we're currently in the Team 7 loadout. Naruto is watching. And Kakashi gets trapped in the water prison and goes, well, looks at Zabuza and goes, hey, you know that one bingo bounty that is flee on sight for no matter who you are, even if you're another triple S ranked ninja, you're supposed to flee on sight because that's how strong he is. He goes, yeah. He goes, activate initiative Hammerwort. Authorization code Inu. And the seal on Naruto's forehead that was hidden immediately flashes blue, then red, then shatters. A seal on his neck, after he bites his thumb, he immediately swipes his blood on it. The hinge drops. He now turns into the full size that he is, because he grew faster because of the QB's influence and so on. And his armor comes out to what you see right now. He just pulls out this giant block of what looks like metal, and he picks it up with one hand like it weighs nothing. It is the size of Kyubi Kiri Bocho. That's how big the block of metal is. Yes, it is really big. But the the staff that he uses to swing it around, same size as Kyubi Kiri Bocho's blade. So yeah. And he said his authorization code accepted. Termination. And he just disappears. And all they hear in the wind is swift release, time stop. So in Naruto's vision, he's running at Kage level speeds. But in reality, he's running at light speeds. He's using chakra to see everything instead of using his eyes, because he shut his eyes and he's actually blind. Which you will understand why later. But he just appears right in front of Zabuza and swings his hammer at full speed with this 1 foot wide ring. He just swings in a circle and just punts Zabuza to the side. And he's flying flat against it. And he can't react fast enough. But Naruto appears right behind him and swings again in the opposite direction, slamming him again. So he has cracks all over his ribs. He's completely bruised. He's just like, ugh. He's completely unconscious. And Naruto immediately grabs him by the throat, slams him on the ground, pulls out a seal tag from somewhere on his armor, and slams it on his head, almost cracking his skull. And then picks up his hammer again, flashes into the woods, and all they hear is some ripping up trees. And they just hear shattering of trees, cracking of branches. And all of a sudden, this person gets flown over next to Zabuza. And he appears right behind her, grabs her by the back of the neck, and slams the tag behind her. And he asks her questions, and she has nothing to do but answer them. And so she answers them completely and truthfully, because Naruto promised that Zabuza would not be harmed as long as they get the answers they needed. They got the answers they needed. Zabuza's not going to be harmed. He gets put in a prisoner transport scroll. He puts her in a prisoner transport scroll after knocking her out and sealing her away. And... well, after he's done sealing them, he tells Kakashi to summon the last 9 weapons. And Kakashi starts giggling, but does so in a serious voice and says, "Are you going out with Scythe again?" And he goes, "Nope, Scythe and Senbon." And Kakashi just immediately has blood dripping down his nose. You can see it through the mask. And he goes, "I will smash you with my hammer if you don't get those ideas out of your head." And he goes, "Sir, yes, sir." An hour later after that, because these aren't normal people. These are people specifically trained and bred, basically, for this program. They appear, Scythe and Senbon appear, and they immediately tackle Warhammer. Warhammer looks at Inuichi. They saw. Erase their memories. Inuichi goes, "Yes, sir." And Danzo's looking around. All of a sudden, his right arm gets cut off. The bandages fall off, and they see eyes all over the arm. And Warhammer just appears right in front of him, grabs him by the neck, puts his hand right where the eye is, and rips it out, and looks, and throws it at Kunai. Kunai grabs it out of the air, pulls off his mask slightly, and shoves it into place. And Danzo sees this and immediately knows who Kunai is. And is about to say something when Naruto, which is Warhammer, pops his head like a grape. Oh, this is outside of the building, and he pops the head like a grape. So it's not messy, and Inari didn't see any of it. But he's about to take out another thing to put on his forehead again, when Senbon and Scythe just pull it out of his hand and put it back. And say, "No, we don't want you short and stupid again." He goes, "But my team." They go, "We're going to fight the Akatsuki, so we need you at your best." And he goes, "Fine." He walks right up to Guy and says, "Run around the island 15 times. Don't be seen. And make sure you notice everybody you can." Looks at Kunai, Shuriken, and Senbon and say, "Scout, you have 3 hours to come back with all the information you can." Looks at Shield, "Put up a barrier. Get ready for a fight, because this is our home base." Looks at Sum, Inuichi, and Hiyashi and says, "What you're about to listen and hear is all classified under triple S rank. And if you say this to anybody, even to these people in this house that are hearing, immediate execution, no matter who you are. Do you understand?" Sum gets the presence of an alpha, so she immediately straightens up and says, "Sir, yes, sir." Hiyashi's just completely confused. He goes, "Sure." Inuichi immediately salutes him and starts helping Shield with his barriers and Genjutsu. Looks at Kakashi. Warhammer pulls out a Nino mask, tosses it at him, pulls out an eye patch, flicks it at him, and says, "We need Inu, not Kakashi." And he goes, "Oh, crap." So he bites his thumb and rubs and wipes it down a few seals. Immediately changes posture from the slouch into standing tall. So Danzo's dead. So that's one thing down. Sasuke and Sakura had things implanted in their mind and going to be asleep the entire time. Tazuna, Inari, and Tsunami all have things planted in their mind in the entire time. Scythe gets told to make it look like all the workers are working on the bridge. Everybody else, including Axe, except for Senbon, Shuriken, and Kunai, and you'll see in a sec, have to work on the bridge. So Spear is working on the bridge. Shuriken, you're not going to know who he is till the invasion arc, which is probably going to be either this episode or next episode. But once the invasion arc is over, this is done. Axe, I'm guessing you know who he is because 15 laps around the thing. I can tell you who he is. Asuma Sarutobi starts helping with the bridge. Kurenai Yuhi, the most sadistic, bloodthirsty genjutsu mistress the Leaf has had in the last 30 years. Yugao Yuzuki, sword, helping with the bridge. Enko Mitarashi, Senbon. And if you guys have gotten far enough in Shippuden, you'll know whose eye that was. That was ripped out of Danzo's right eye socket and thrown back to him. And the Hyuga clan member that should have died, but instead was replaced by a blood clone. And the cage bird seal was removed by Warhammer, and given a new identity as Shield, which is the only one who knows the exact details of the barrier and how it works for Anbu, the village, and the Forest of Death. There's different barriers for each. So he's the only one who knows the specifics of it. And yes, he's a Hyuga. He had to fake his death. He faked his death. Now he's, what do you call it? A workaholic. But Tsume is getting ready to go out. Naruto grabs his helmet and pulls it off his head. Like dirty blonde hair comes out backwards. His bright blue eyes are now out. His chiseled jawline that has a slight mustache. Tsume sees this and immediately starts drooling. Scythe immediately puts her scythe right in front of her and says, "Mine!" In Senbon's, but mine. Naruto puts a hand on her head and goes, calm down. She's not seen me like this before. She goes, "I know, but you're still mine." And he goes, I know. So we go like a few days later. It looks like everybody's there, but the fake Itachi, Kisame, Kakuzu, Deitara, uh, Sasori, Hidan, Pain, and Konan. Now I'm just gonna say they're all there, which is the last two. Who are the last two? Can't remember the last two. Pain, Konan, Sasori, Deitara, Kakuzu, Hidan, Itachi, Kisame, White and Black Zetsu. He's a spy. And I think it's White and Black Zetsu is the last two. I can't really remember. But all 10 of them there come. Because they got intel that Naruto was coming. So they told Gato that they would help. For free. If they can take one of the people as... So Gato asked which one. And they told him the blonde-haired, blue-eyed child. And he goes, sure, take him. They weren't expecting was to fight the 10 strongest people in all of the elemental nations. So when Itachi sees Shuriken, he immediately goes, well, my job is done, and poofs out of existence. Well, really, it doesn't poof out of existence, but it turns back into blood. And everybody's like, what? And Kakashi goes, or not Kakashi, Itachi looks directly at Warhammer and says, they're after you here, boss. Warhammer goes, okay. Looks at Pan and goes, ooh, I like those eyes. You know what? I'd be more effective as a blunt instrument if I had those eyes. Don't you think so? Immediately Senbon and Scythe are like, no, your eyes are pretty just by themselves. And he goes, you're right. But those eyes are too powerful to let anybody besides the Leaf have, don't you think? And all the armored people go, yeah. So Warhammer looks at Shisui and goes, flicker? He goes, okay. So Shisui starts using his famous body flicker technique. Shisui of the Shunshin Shisui. Itachi doesn't show his eyes, but Kisame immediately gets put into Genjutsu. Samehada tries to break him out, but it's Tsukuyomi, where Samehada gets ripped to shreds, but Kisame feels the pain, and so on and so on. Kisame's out of the thing. Scythe goes after Hidan. Senbon goes after Konan. Kakuzu goes after Warhammer because he has the biggest bounty. But he doesn't think he can win. He just will try. So Warhammer's fighting both Pain and Kakuzu. But we're currently missing Shield. Yeah, we're currently missing Shield. So Axe and Spear are fighting 3 people at once. And the rest are making sure that the bridge is continuing being made. I probably missed a few people. But it's really hard to keep track of 10 people while making a fight scene. So, yeah. So, Pain's like... Almighty Push, then... And... Bansho Tenin, or... Yeah, Bansho Tenin and Shinra Tensei. He's like, come, get over here, and then go away constantly. But what he doesn't know is the power of gravity only works as much as you can push. You want to know how heavy Naruto is with all of his armor on and everything? Not even Guy can lift him. Yeah. Guy, who is the #1 taijutsu person, can't lift Naruto. And his armor is full of seals, so he's completely immune to ninjutsu. So he's flicking through people, and Kakuzu doesn't release any of his hearts. Instead, he has them on himself to block whenever or something's coming towards him. What he doesn't know is the hammer is special. It was made out of a chunk of Kubikiri Bocho found in the Third Great Shinobi War. A chunk of Samehara that was found in the Third Great Shinobi War. A chunk of Nuabari. Kiba. Helm Splitter. And the two-handed one. Can't remember the name of that one. So, it's made out of a chunk of all of the seven swordsmen of 7 blades of the mist. And it's just pure chakra metal after that. So, Kakuzu has his chakra flaring because of his mess. And Naruto comes down from like 30 meters up, smashing him with the hammer, well, this giant chunk of metal, and completely smashes 4 out of his 5 hearts because he ejected one at the last second. Naruto immediately comes and grabs the mask, shattering it, grabbing the heart behind the mask, and crushing it. Kakuzu's dead. Onto the Diva Path of Pain. He flips through hand seals and summons the other 5 paths. And he immediately peers right behind it, grabs a metal rod from one of their sleeves, and jams it in his hand. Nagato's like, maybe I can try to take over his body and control him that way. No. He tries to take over Naruto's body. He finds out the Kyuubi's gone. And he's like, what the freak is going on? He tries to take over it more. He gets ripped out of his own body and basically eaten. The one thing only 2 people know, because they're told about it, is Naruto is now the new Kyuubi. He is now the new 9-tailed fox. He's the Nine Kyuubi. Naruto Uzumaki is the next one in line to the title of Kyuubi, when Kuruma Otsutsuki is the original 9-tailed fox. We go back 10 years when he's 6. Yes, it's going to be that later. They graduate later in their life. He's currently 6 years old. He was just attacked by a mob. He has a kunai in his head. And he gets sent into his mindscape, and the Kyuubi looks at him and says, I will completely demolish this village, but I can't. I would have demolished the village, but I can't. And Naruto, who doesn't really care anymore, asks, why? And he says, this village is full of so much corruption that I had to erase it. So I attacked it, looking to erase this village, mainly Danzo Shimura, Koharu Yutane, Homura, and civilian council, and their families, which branch out all the way throughout this village. But I did not expect to be sealed. I will give you my mission of ridding this world of corruption if you accept 3 rules. And he goes, okay, I'm dying, so might as well listen to what these rules are. No killing children. He goes, that's fair. Only kill the wicked. That's fair. And don't lose yourself in hatred. He goes, okay, but what are you going to do to make me become like this? He goes, come through the bars, and I'll make you the next QB. He goes, okay. Walks through the bars. QB stabs him in the gut with a claw, his pinky claw, and says, I, QB no Yoko, transfer all of my Jubi chakra to Naruto Uzumaki and give my soul to the Shinigami. The Shinigami appears behind him and says, are you sure? And he goes, yes. He goes, okay. He rips out the other half of the QB chakra from his own gut and puts it in Naruto. It appears outside the gate. And it asks, oh, so this kid's dying. Okay. I'm the good half. So he pokes the child in the head. And all their chakra sucked into Naruto. Naruto has now 1 tail, fox ears, and he looks like he's 13. In the hospital, where the doctors are doing everything to save Naruto, they immediately get a flood of this hatred-filled but soothing chakra, of a loving chakra, this just angry but calm chakra, this completely backwards chakra, because it feels angry and hateful at one second, but loving and warm the next. And they're like, what the hell is going on? All of a sudden, one tail grows out of his back, his tailbone, ears appear on his head, and this little mallet appears next to him. And the mallet says, I consume special swords, on the handle. And on the other side of the handle, it says, I consume negative energy. I consume evil. I consume hatred. I am the end of the cycle of hatred. And then it has the face of a snarling fox on one side. And it's just a small little dinky hammer, like dinky mallet. And nobody knows what's going on. 3 days later after this incident, Naruto wakes up. He tells the Sandaime exactly what happens. And he immediately pulls out a helmet. And says, there's this program, after sealing up everything, making sure there's nobody in there, going through everything, killing a few root spies. He says there's a program. It's called the Weapons Program. Well, it's technically called Weapon X, but there's a myth about this guy going through this program called Weapon X and becoming this basically unstoppable war machine and losing all his mind and just going on a rampage for a little bit. and then went on a self-serving thing and found his place and went back in time. Yeah, so that's why we don't call it Weapon X, because it's convoluted story. We don't want any stigma for that. But it's called the Weapon Program. And we've been looking for the Warhammer. Turns it around and it shows the Warhammer's head. The head of the armor you saw at the beginning. You saw the helmet of this armor. And he goes, we need Warhammer. We have Scythe, we have everything. We just need the leader, Warhammer. And you have 1 year to get smart enough and have enough tactics training to become the leader. The strength can come later. He goes, okay, I accept this challenge. A year later, he now initiated his Warhammer. He's given on his back after the entirety of the back skin of his body was removed. A bone-searing plate of a Warhammer. This giant hammer in this warrior's hands. And by this time, Samehara's piece, Kubikiri Bocho's piece, and all the other 7 swordsmen and sword pieces were fed to the hammer. And he says, this hammer is a special hammer to the Sandaime. And he goes, show them your weight, Mjolnir. And it just slams on the ground. It completely changes from this dinky little hammer to this giant chunk of metal. And he goes, this is just the first form. And yes, I do like the soul swords for our Bleach, and I'm making it a soul hammer. And he goes, this is just the first form. This is the heaviest thing I have felt my entire life. And he goes, okay, what's the last form? Show them heaven's weight, Atlas. And it just immediately makes a giant 30 by 50 deep crater in the ground just by dropping it. And it's even smaller. It's the size of a 50-pound dumbbell on the end of a stick. And it looks like the chain of a shot put, or whatever the name of that ball and chain thing is that they use at the Olympics. I don't remember the name. But it looks like that. So he walks down and he picks it up like it's nothing and puts it on his shoulder. And he goes, I'm going to be using this from now on as my training tool. I'm going to become the strongest person in the entire world with this. So Sarutobi's like, okay, before that, here's your mother's and your father's scrolls. So he learns he's an Uzumaki, he has the chains. Then he learns that he has swift release from Iowa. And the Namikaze clan went to Kumo originally because Kumo would accept any kind of bloodline because Iowa was oppressing them. Then Kumo wanted to put them into the, how should I say this? Shinobi machine that they made. And this machine basically sucked them up like they're not human. And so Namikaze Minato was sent away from their clan with a branch member and they made it into Fire Country. The branch member, or basically sacrificed himself, and the Kumo didn't know he had a child with him. Hiruzen took him in, knew he was a Namikaze, and gave him that name, so he finally made a name for himself with the Flying Thunder God, which was actually a technique called Swift Release Time Stop. For Naruto, it's black. And he doesn't need a kunai to help him restart time. So yeah. We go back to the fight. And he goes, well, it looks like I need to pull out all the stops. And Senbon hears this. So does Scythe. And Senbon gets a little giddy. And she starts ripping whoever she was supposed to be fighting to shreds really quickly. Scythe just stops everything. Stops fighting with heat on. Basically impales him to the ground. And says, watch, it's gonna get good. And he picks up his hammer like it weighed nothing, and it started to shrink to this normal size mallet. He flips it around and says, show them heaven's weight, Atlas, and just drops it on the mainland. The entire island starts to shake. Everybody's freaking out. And he just drops down with it as like as what Thor does to fly. He swings the hammer and lets it pull him. Well, he dropped it and grabbed the basically circle, and he kept going down with it. He lands, and both the Diva and Ashura paths are completely crushed. He has the human, animal, Naraka, and I forgot the last one. But he just starts beating them in. Preda. And the last one is the Preda path. He's about to summon the King of Hell, and the giant weight just sits on his hands. And he says to the people who were watching him, it's time to find the mastermind. Conan immediately just tries to fly away from Senbon, because I remembered. Senbon immediately sticks her with a specific poison-infused Senbon, which makes her immediately paralyzed. And says, you're not allowed to leave. We're not done playing. So Senbon continues to torture her, getting all the information. Madara, or supposed to be Madara, appears right in front of Nagato, and he's about to grab his eyes, when all of a sudden a paralyzing seal appears underneath Nagato, and Madara tells him, what is with you and Uzumaki's being Funjutsu masters? He goes, I didn't do this. And he can't move, so he just looks at Madara and goes, I didn't do this. And Naruto walks in like, nope, I did. Walks right over to Madara, pulls off his mask, and says, hey, Obito. Walks up to Nagato and pulls out his eyes and be like, these aren't yours. Puts them in a jar, seals them away in his right glove, calls his hammer like Thor does, and immediately grabs it by the hilt and goes, while I'm in proximity of at least 100 feet of this hammer, this seal is completely locked. And points at the one on his wrist that holds his eyes. And he turns the hammer back into its normal form, which is a dinky little hammer, and puts it in his back pocket, basically. And looks at Madara and goes, well, Obito Uchiha. Immediately slams his hand into the ground right underneath Obito and pulls out Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu tries to take him over, and he grabs the head of Black Zetsu and rips it off his shoulder. And it's just a shadow creature, and he goes, "You should know this already. I'm a teenager. I'm supposed to know things that I shouldn't." And they're like, "What?" And Nagato finally puts together and goes, "Oh, shit." They both look at him and go, "What?" And he goes, "You know that new smut book that came out like a year ago?" And they go, "Yeah." "I thought that was weird that there was a seal, a Uzumaki spiral seal, a storage seal, mind you, where the author's name was, and the author always signed his name at the end of the book. I thought that was a weird coincidence that there was an Uzumaki spiral." Zetsu's eye widens. Obito's eyes widen. His empty eye socket looks like it's widening, but there's nothing there. So Obito, Zetsu, and Nagato are all here and listening to Warhammer, Naruto Uzumaki, say, "I have ears, eyes, and mouths," because my teammates kind of need to hear me, everywhere. His teammates are currently listening to this conversation. Absolutely everywhere. The only other person who can listen in on my spy network is the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. But only when they satisfy the weapons of Konoha do they get this spy network. It took 6 months for Haruzen Sarutobi to prove that he'll use the spy network for the good of Konoha and the world. And he did it 3 months ago. So, I know about a lot of things I shouldn't. He knows about a lot of things he shouldn't. But he's supposed to be old and wise. He's supposed to know things that he shouldn't. I, on the other hand, shouldn't know things that I shouldn't. So, well, this is a coincidence. So, let's get to the point where I start killing you three. Well, Nagato, I'm going to give you a Yuzu burial. But you two, I'm just going to burn you to crisp. Isn't that right, Will of Kaguya Otsutsuki? Immediately, both of them snap their head towards Zetsu and goes, "What?" Obito goes, "You're supposed to be Will of Madara." And I start laughing my ass off and say, "Remember that one time you left that smut book that you started reading and left it in the room with Black Zetsu before he's supposed to leave for that one thing to spy on Nagato here to make sure he actually tries to come and get me?" He goes, "Yeah." Well, he started talking to himself, technically. Pulls white and black up. He started talking to himself. Well, really, actually, the other side of him. And they started talking about their mother. So I listened very carefully, and guess what he said? "Soon, my mother, we will unseal you from the moon with these weakling humans." So I did a little digging and found the only person sealed in the moon was Kaguya Otsutsuki by the Rakudo Sanin for going crazy because of the influence of the Jubi. So that's why the Jubi is currently split into 9 different beasts. Get Amazo's husk, and so on and so on. And I'm not going to finish that story because you guys are probably going, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Well, goes up to my helmet, completely pulls it off, and shows a specific tattoo. It says, as an Uzumaki, I am a devout follower of the Jubi. I am a devout follower of the primordial of all creation, Jubi. Or should I say, the wolf that always hunts. He goes by many names, but I prefer Jubi. The Ten Tails. Geto Mazo. Thing with infinite power, but has no mind to use it for good or evil. So now that I'm part of Jubi, I'm closer to him than ever. I'm the closest thing you can be without being the Jubi itself. So, how should I say this? I'm tired of having to fight. I'm tired of having to hide. So I'm gonna bring the world to peace by devouring people's hatred. There's always will be evil in the world. That's an inevitability. But this hammer points at the back pocket. Just being near you, you feel clear-headed, don't you? Obito's like, but yeah, I do. I look at Nagato, and Nagato's like, yeah. I look at Nagato and go, I'm going to give you Yuzu Burial, but let's just say all Uzumaki have these. Pulls out chains. And has the opportunity to get their spirit into physical form. Except for when you have these. And points at the seal. Well, I'm rambling. So, this pops Zetsu's heads like grapes. Seals the, how should I say this? Black form of Zetsu. And a storage scroll and burns it. Goes up to Nagato. It says, sorry, cousin, but you've done enough evil. It's time for you to rest. He starts crying, being like, I don't want Konan to die. And I go, that's not up to me. That's up to whoever she's fighting. I think it's Senbon. Yeah, Senbon. If she wants Konan to be spared, she'll spare Konan. But if she doesn't want Konan to be spared, she won't. It will just happen. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Things happen how they happen. I really wish I could change it. And I go, you just did. He goes, what do you mean? So, this story was supposed to be done so much differently. I was supposed to be only hated, not attacked. You're supposed to wait till I'm 16 after trying to get me when I was 13. But I was put into the program that shouldn't have ever been created. But it was. And he tells the original story of Naruto with things that should and shouldn't have happened. And Nagato's like, huh. So I wasn't supposed to ever win. And he goes, oh no, you win one or two times. The thing about being Kurama's, the new Kurama, or Kyuubi no Yoko, is I see 9 different timelines at the same exact time. I see what could or couldn't have happened. One of the timelines I'm currently watching, which is a really good timeline, is where my friend is a reincarnator and gets sent to this other world after dying with his girlfriend, well, actually wife at the end, and basically sells his soul to a devil and a god to bring his wife back. And he completely loses it and does what you're going to do to the leaf. basically destroy one thing to bring everything back to the way it's supposed to be. But he gets sent to another world, and yeah. That one's not quite done yet. I still haven't been able to see what the next world is. I think he's currently in limbo. And he goes, "Are you watching other worlds like TV shows?" And he goes, "Yep." He goes, "And will you ever be able to get to those worlds?" And he goes, "Nope. Because I am the QB no Yoko for this world." The QB no Yoko for another world, maybe a female. The QB no Yoko for that next world, maybe non-gender. Who knows what the QB no Yoko for a different world is? Besides the gods of those worlds. But you, my good sir, changed the entire storyline for this world by coming to the help of Gato. Now, Gato's going to die. Their company's always going to fall apart sooner or later, so time to do my job. He picks up his hammer and goes, "I'll make this quick." Turns Nagato's head and pops him in the back of the spine, where his body just shuts down. I cast Naruto goes, "Whirlpool style. Burial of the deceased." And all of a sudden, this giant whirlpool shows up, and it shows the center of Uzu. And he slides in Nagato into the center of the whirlpool. And all of a sudden, he just sees Nagato falling into the whirlpool of Uzu. And he goes, "Rest in peace, my family." And goes on to the next thing. He leaves this giant fake tree, and he goes, "Huh. Well, this is weird." Goes down to the bridge, and Gato's like, "What the hell's going on?" Scythe has heat on, cut up into multiple little pieces, and stopping him from regenerating with her scythe, which is very special. Senbon has completely incapacitated Konan and says, "Konan, I'll give you a deal. If you go back to AIM and promise never, and I mean never, to return to the outside world without a specific mission to go to the outside world, and, well, you get treated like a Kage in AIM, and you actually treat other people with respect instead of just Nagato, which took an Uzu burial like a champ, by the way. But you actually be a civilized person instead of trying to rule the world and bring back the old Jubi, which really shouldn't be brought back because he was just a force of nature, or that every 20 years just farts and destroys a mountain. But yeah, I do not suggest bringing him back, but you want to go back to AIM? Go. I ain't stopping you. Looks at Senbon and says, "Playtime's over." Gato's like, wait. I paid her. And she goes, "She didn't pay us. We said we'd do this for free. So we had no contract." He goes, "Crap." I look at Heat-On and say, "Joshin ain't real." And I'd smash him with my hammer. The scythe, his blood, and his body just starts getting eaten by the hammer. And I go, "Huh. He was a special blade, given human form." Kakazu's dead. Kisume's dead. I throw my hammer at Samehada. Samehada gets absorbed through my hammer. And I look at Spear and go, kill them all. Spear says, yes, sir. Gets down and says, shadow spear technique. A giant spear that's in the same shape as his. So that a guy with the spear in the picture earlier, yeah, that spear comes out of the ground, just stabbing them from groin to head, then flans out to completely shred their organs. I say, good, good, good. It's time to finish this. Looks at Axe and says, guy. And he goes, God damn it. I'm supposed to be calm, collected, and not go youth every 5 seconds. I really hate that mask, but that mask is keeping me sane, so I'm not going to use it right now. What do you want, boss? I look at him and go, you remember that whirlpool technique I told you? The one that allows me to teleport things to different locations with the fake whirlpool that you can summon? I go, yeah. He goes, yeah. I say, use it. He goes, where do you want me to send him? How about that volcano that we had to stop from erupting a year or two ago in Iowa? And he goes, that thing? That wasn't a volcano. I go, it wasn't? He goes, no. That was the Four Tails. I go, he just acted like a volcano, so I kept remembering him as a volcano. Senbone and Scythe both giggle. He goes, fine, I'll send him to him. And I go, ooh, I do remember I fed the volcano. And he goes, my God, boss, you're gonna get melted by lava. And I go, I already have mates carrying me coming after my ass, so I think I already have a volcano after me. At least that one's sexy, though. Both Scythe and Senbone look at him like he's dead, and he goes, I'm dead, aren't I? Spear goes, troublesome. And if you guys can't guess who Spear is, well, then why the hell are you even here anymore? You would have been lost like ages ago. So I look at Spear, or not I. I'm so used to putting myself in different worlds. Naruto looks at Spear and goes, Shikaku. He goes, yes, boss? I go, you can only say that when you're acting Jonin Commander. You're not acting Jonin Commander currently. You're acting Spear. He goes, ugh. What a drag. I'm using all their text now, because they're the only ones left besides Hedon, who's currently trying to cuss out Kurenai. Oops. Trying to cuss out Kurenai for not allowing him to sacrifice her to Jashi. Actually, no, Hedon's dead. Never mind. Hedon's dead. Yeah, everybody's dead. So they all, well, not everybody. Kakashi's still alive. So everybody gets ready and they start sending them through the whirlpool that Guy summons. Rashi, who's currently in Iowa chopping wood, starts having bodies falling on his head, and he starts cussing out Naruto or Warhammer because he's dropping bodies on him again. Then a giant platter of what Rashi's favorite food is falls on his head, and he goes, this ain't enough to pay for it. Then a briefcase falls on his head with over 2 million Ryo, and he goes, I ain't falling for this. He starts digging through the money and finds the book and goes, "This is enough to pay for it." The whirlpool that he looks up at in giving a thumbs up to just ends, and he goes, "Good doing business with you." So Rashi burns the bodies. There's nothing left. Naruto goes to Gato's hideout, takes everything of importance. Some of the, how should I say this? Old Seven Swords into the Mist weapons get absorbed to whatever they need to be absorbed as, which is Naruto's hammer. So we go 5 days later. They basically undress. Naruto is currently in adult form. And he says, "The civilian council ain't gonna like what I did." Kurenai, who's basically hugging him like he's a teddy bear, and Engo, who's basically on his back 24/7 now, is like, "Nah, we don't care. You're a shinobi. And you're a high-ranking shinobi." And he goes, "Only when I have the helmet on." And everybody's like, and also Danzo's gone. He goes, right, I forgot about Danzo. Looks at Shisui, who currently has his mask off, who has a dragon's mask on his belt, but has both eyes again. And he goes, "I'm glad I have my right eye again." And Itachi's like, "I still can't believe you faked your death." He goes, "What? I need you to become dragon." He goes, "But you were already higher than dragon as kunai." He goes, "I wanted to be the second highest in the current working relationship of the Hokage and Anbu." Nobody understands Shisui. So Shisui starts to poke fun at Itachi. We get to 10 minutes from Konoha. Everybody except for Naruto puts their armor back on. And Inuichi, who's been read into the program, pulls out 2 scrolls. One that's labeled Sakura, and then one that's labeled Sasuke. Naruto pulls out from his back pocket a seal, and Kurenai is about to stop him, and he presses the seal on his forehead. It glows red, then glows blue, and then disappears. All of a sudden, his henge gets put back on, and he looks at them like they're God's gift to Earth. And he's like, "You're so cool. Who are you guys?" And he starts asking questions, and Kurenai just sighs. Enko laughs. Shikaku's like, "Once he becomes Chunin, we can keep it off forever." He goes, "Keep what off?" And they go, "That's currently a secret. We'll tell you once you hit Chunin." Kakashi just starts laughing because as Kurenai looks pissed. Enko looks just sadistic at that point in time because they're putting their masks back on. And they just want to keep it authentic. But in reality, in the back of Naruto's mind, something's nagging at him. He looks directly at Kurenai, and Enko goes, "Have I seen you two before?" Enko goes, "Nope. Unless you've been in my torture room." Kurenai's like, "Nope. Well, you saw me at team placements, but no." He goes, "Oh yeah, you're the beautiful one. You're the sadistic one." They go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "I've seen you before. You protected me from a mob one time. I think it was a year or two ago. I don't remember. And Enko's like, oh yeah, that mob with civilians. Yeah, I did do a protection detail back then. I don't remember what happened to the person that I was protecting. He goes, you were Snake? He goes, yeah. He goes, you can't hide very well. Kerr and I just start laughing because Enko's the second best at hiding out of the team of weapons. Warhammer's number one for everything. Except for one thing. Cutting power. He's number 2 for that. Cutting power is Kerr and I's thing. He's also second to technique, which is Yugao's thing. But yeah. We get back. The 9 weapons report to Hiruzen. And they hand in the 10th and says Warhammer had to go back incognito. Naruto's like, who's Warhammer? And they go, you'll learn after you become Chunin. And Sasuke's like, tell me now. I'm an Uchiha and I gotta stick up my butt. And they go, no, you're not. You haven't been read into the Triple S class documents before. And Naruto has. Ask Howler Monkey. And he goes, sadly, yes. He's I'd have to say the second most important thing after me. And they're like, but what? And Naruto asks, because of him? He goes, sorta. Yeah, sorta. Yes, Mizuki still did the You're the Demon Fox. Iruka doesn't know about the incident, so yeah. We go to the beginning of the Chunin exams, when they meet Gaara. Gaara says, you aren't the Jinchuriki, you are the demon. And Naruto's just completely confused. But, Tamari, Kankuro both remember Gaara saying the Jinchuriki's gone. They ask him why, and he says the original Biju Kurama no Kurama Otsutsuki died one day, and he didn't understand a single thing, and said as Shikaku Otsutsuki's mourning his brother's loss. So yeah, the people know. Most people know about the most people in other villages know about the Biju's Kurama's death. Except for the people in Konoha, when Naruto's gonna disappear when he becomes Chunin. So we go to the second part of the Chunin exams. They learn that Orochimaru is in the forest. And they immediately yell over the Anbu 2, snake in the trees. Weapons enforced to death within 10 minutes. Hammerwort. Emergency code Hammerwort. Authorization pass. Hiruzen Sarutobi, 3rd Hokage of Konohagakure. Immediately the seal glows blue, red, and shatters. And he goes, well, damn, it hasn't been that long. Both Sasuke and Sakura are now confused because the retelling of the wave mission is completely different from what actually happened. So they don't remember Naruto going all beast mode with his hammer and yeah. He goes, yo, Orochimaru. He goes, you want to meet the real Naruto Uzumaki? Kyuubi? He goes, what do you mean Kyuubi? And he goes, well, I'm now the Kyuubi no Kitsune, Naruto Uzumaki. The night aim Kyuubi no Kitsune. He goes, what? I look directly at him and I go, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He goes, I had my suspicions that the Kyuubi died because of the voice from the spies of other villages with the Jinchuriki, but if Kyuubi actually died, then you'd be dead. I go, no, I wouldn't. Not if he gave his life to save mine. And he goes, that's not possible. The Biju are selfish creatures. And I go, no, they're not. They're selfless creatures. They're really selfless, and to the point that if one of their hosts is about to die, and they like their host, they will use their power and make them the new Biju. So you can guess what happened then. He goes, yeah, I can. What is code Hammerwall? And he goes, oh, that's to take off the seal on my forehead, which is a memory modification seal and a strength, speed, and technique, or muscle memory replacing seal. You're now facing the real Naruto Uzumaki. Well, technically Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, but meh, that's besides the point. And he goes, okay, wait. I'm going to end it here. Right at a cliffhanger. Talk to you guys later. Bye! Well, if you like it, subscribe. Like it, subscribe. Don't hit the like button and comment, please. I like support. A lot of support, please.